Chapter 11. Jeremy. First person Catherine, 1989. I visited a law school a week ago, near the end of November, to give a talk on the New Zealand legal system, post the Second World War. My first question was, what year did the war actually end? Most answered 1945. Then a German student raised her hand and said, 1989, this year, the year the Berlin Wall came down. For Germany, the war is finally over. Which was true, socially, politically, militarily, and legally. Unfortunately, it was also the year a sperm and an egg decided to do what sperms and eggs do. And they just happened to do it inside of me. Yes, I'm pregnant. I'm not mentally pregnant yet. I'm still able to go for hours without remembering that I'm pregnant. Obviously, physically, I seem to be able to perform the task. I just never considered it. Babies were always created by other people, most of whom suddenly started dressing really badly and dropped off everyone's phone lists. I suppose I had always believed in my own mind that I could create whatever path I wanted, that no obstacle in front of me was insurmountable. It is, after all, the mantra of our generation. We are forever young, we being the baby boomers, the dreamers that never fought a war. As if the mere fact that humanity had just massacred itself to the tune of 80 million would really give birth to the age of Aquarius, peace and love and flowers in your blah blah blah. My own mother was 38 when she had me. As a young woman, she'd helped build tanks. She'd tightened bolts on tanks that had stormed the beaches of Normandy. One lapse of concentration by a female factory worker might mean the deaths of men. Wasn't my mother as important as the men that rode in the tanks? The men got medals and parades. My mother couldn't even go to the pub. Her first husband, a veteran, practically locked her in the house. Mum told me he wrenched her cello from her arms once. To give you an idea of my mother's relationship to the cello, I would be rescued from a fire after the cello. But I understood that. She gave that to me, that a woman has to have her own place to shine. She wasn't a prisoner of war as her ex had been. She was a prisoner of the mind, of a culture that drew a box around a woman and said, your place is here. Well, no man will ever control me. Now it seems a man has boxed me, a box with a label on it too. I detest labels, and mother is the worst label of all. As soon as my rivals find out, they'll drink a toast to my demise, as good as a bullet in the head. Not only can they slander me with, don't take any notice of her, it's that time of the year, they can chuck in the pregnant hormones. All fuel to the she's mad fire. That's how they do it, aren't men? Oh, the 100 ways you can say that name. Men, man, min. People fear madness because it's unpredictable. A woman gets called a mad bitch anytime a man's back is to the wall because we're a threat. Because we're good at thinking on our feet or patient or whatever other damn feminine traits I'm supposed to have. I don't know. I don't walk around in high heels all day humming, I am woman, hear me roar. If it had been a woman calling the shots on the Titanic, well, slow down dear and let the band keep on playing. From Joan of Arc to Marilyn Monroe, any woman that had balls was either a bitch, mad bitch, or cold-hearted mad bitch. Well, I'm not Jeremy Staunton's anything, I'm just carrying his seed. Don't misinterpret this, please. He isn't the milkman. When I have sex with a man, he's got to be at least the CEO of a major firm. The rubber broke. He got the jitters while his wife was in the next room. But I needed to be on the case he was working. The French business had died. There was no consequence for any of the agents. The plane trip to Hull, all the angst that had finally severed the ties Danny and I had, all wasted. Well, perhaps not wasted. It was probably better the divide between Danny and I was wider. Too wide now, after all. The river was over 13 years ago. Time to forget it. There are many days when it takes me a moment to even recall her name. Susan something, McLeod, that's right. The cheerful swat that became head girl because she was innocuous, mousy. Rather a tragic little figure. She had a thing for Danny, but Danny was transfixed on me, and I made sure of that. This is the slowest elevator in the world. Well, he is on the 36th floor. I made a mistake. Not in going to Hal. I shouldn't have taken Danny. It was just... I knew he would have to push the envelope at some point. I needed someone who would ignore their better judgment for me. All right, I'm a bitch. Not a mad bitch, but a bitch. A bitch you can all hate. Anyway, at least I freed Danny, who was being beaten in a French prison and betrayed by the object of your affection. Only draw the string tighter. Ping! Here we are. As I open the door to his hotel room, I don't know which side Jeremy is going to represent. Which side I choose will depend on what words are about to come out of his mouth. He stands there, talking on the phone with his free hand. He gestures for me to get a drink. He keeps talking as people do when they think the people around them are genderless. That is, on their side. I'm more than on his side now. He is inside me. No wonder men walk lightly through the world, when losing one tiny seed fulfills their entire reason for... No. French thing is dead. Nothing in the newspapers, and what can little old New Zealand do anyway? The mouse that roared can roar as much as it wants, but no one heard the second squeak. I'll pack up here. How's the flag thing? They asked for us yet? Te Kawariki the name of this indigenous group. No, I don't see a Maori flag ever replacing the New Zealand flag, but the PM will want examples of legal cases overseas. What's the proposed name? Tino Ranga something? I watch him, fingering the phone cord, already having dropped the cause that he'd argued so passionately for a year, the Rainbow Warrior case. Okay, let me know. What? Yes. The Netherlands have great chocolate. Tot. He turns to me. Catherine. What's see you later in Dutch again? Tot ziens. Hello Darby, it's Tot ziens. See you later. Yeah, that's what it means. Now bugger off. He puts the phone down, sighs, and smiles at me. With one hand he pours brandy over 2 glasses with a well-practiced wrist. His other hand pulls off his tie. We're not having sex, Jeremy, I say. 2 days is a long time, Catherine. Look, I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to lead on anything with the French business, Catherine, but there'll be other cases. Look, I'm going to Switzerland, skiing. Ever seen the Alps? Real mountains. Oh, sure, ours are pretty. But the Alps, Catherine, the Alps, and the connections you make, little old New Zealand can't compare. Mountains are very important to the Maori people, so I've heard. Are they? His tie misses the chair and lands on the floor. I'm pregnant, Jeremy. He doesn't say anything, not a blink. He just finishes his drink and takes the phone off the hook. I know that, but I just want to hear the sounds coming from him. I realize in that moment that despite my life being full of words, so many words, I can tell what someone is thinking with their first gesture. He doesn't want a child, therefore he doesn't want me. That's what that one gesture said. He doesn't even want to talk. He doesn't want to be in the same room anymore with me. And 30 seconds ago, I was going to be his lover in the Swiss Alps. Or I'm married, the first 2 words that come out of his dry mouth. Even the brandy can't change that. I knew that before you stuck your penis in me, I say. He grimaces as if I'd committed some serious social faux pas worse than sticking penises into things, like parting wind in front of the Queen. Well, give you money. For what? Well, then the man that could charm international juries dries up, and I see what he is, as thin as the Chinese screen in the corner of the hotel room. Catherine, I can't ever. I'm not telling you what to do, but think, you're so bright, you have a bright future in front of you. A kid right now. Aborted? Oh, I didn't say that. I think that hotel room, its anonymity, its inoffensive decor, its could be anywhere or nowhere sensibility. A troop of gangsters could have plotted the demise of innocent kindergarten teachers before Jeremy rented it. Tomorrow, the Dalai Lama could be sleeping between those sheets. You didn't need an IQ of 130 to realize that I was that room. Neutral, predictable, bendable. Up to this moment, of course, I was going to abort the insignificant embryo in me. After all, it was still just cells. Maybe it's my grandmother in me. That strong woman that dragged 3 children, including my mother, away from an abusive drunk of a man and a depression valley, where a farmer still owning a cow was king. Well, whoever it is doesn't sound like me. But I still say it. I'm going to have this child, Jeremy. You'll have nothing to do with him or her, ever. But I will see you in court. Court, office, across the other side of the table. I want an allowance stipend until the child is 21. No, until he or she finishes university, because you'll pay for that too. If you send your juniors against me, I will win in one day. So go skiing. Break your neck even. It'll save you a whole lot of money. I should slam the door, but I just walk out. By the time I think of slamming, I'm at the elevator and I know not to look back. I know he's standing outside the door looking at me, dumbstruck at the gall of the skinny 28-year-old lawyer chick with the big nose he thought he had in his pocket, and begged. I smile as I push the button. I remember the door to our hotel room often blows shut by itself. If there was a God, Jeremy Staunton is locked out of his hotel room, barefoot and pissed.